Hi everyone, I'm Ghani. In this video, we're going to make this metal into this final product. Okay, here's our game plan. First, sketch. We need to sketch to visualize our design. Second, cutting. We need to cutting the metal into the shape that we want using the milling machine. Third, we're going to reduce. We're going to reduce the diameters using the lathe machine. Like these two shapes, we need to reduce the diameters into the smaller diameters. The fourth, joining. We're going to join all the parts together using the welding machine. And the fifth, finishing. We're going to clean up and finishing the product using the grinding machine. Okay, before we start, I would like to remind you guys to always use safety protector equipment such as safety shoes, gloves, and safety glasses. To fabricate the front grille and the windshield, you need to start with an L-shaped metals, and then you cut into 4 sections or 4 plates, and then after that you can use the 2 of them for the windshield or for the front grille. Start with the windshield. You need to start with the drill holes. Make the 4 drill holes at the corner, and then you change the drill bit into the 4mm anvil, and you can process the cutting, and you can obtain the shape that you want. The similar methods that I use, like before, you make the drill first, 8 drill holes for the up and 4 at the down, and then you change the drill into the anvil, 4mm anvil, and you can proceed the cutting, and then you obtain the front grille shape. For the main body or for the chassis, okay, first of all, this is not a perpendicular cut. This is 110 degrees cutting. I put the metals into the vise and I rotate the vise into 110 degrees for this part. Okay, and you can process the cutting. Rotate the vise again anti-clockwise to 70 degrees angle, and you can obtain this angle. Okay, and then you rotate again until the vise is straight or 90 degrees, and you can obtain this cutting. Do it on the opposite direction. For this side, the similar methods, and for this is not a 90 degrees cutting, this is 110 cuttings. See, this is not straight, this is not perpendicular. Okay, actually there are 2 ways to make this happen. First, you can put the metals into the vise like this, or you can rotate the spindle under 10 degrees, and you can proceed the cutting. For this experiments, I choose the spindles rotates, not the metals that on the vise is rotates, but the spindles. Okay, but for this is perpendicular. Rotates again the spindle to 90 degrees, so you can make the straight cutting. So you can fabricate these hoods from the hollow metals, and you cut at an angle 30 degrees angle, and you cut like a shield shape, and then after you obtain the shield shape, you punch to make the metals wider, and then after that you grind for the front, the back, and the side. Finally, you can obtain this shape. Okay, for the last part, I started with the square hollow metals. You cut into 4 sections, and then you can obtain L metal shape, and you can punch the perpendicular, so it's not perpendicular, make it like 100 degrees angle, and you can obtain this. Okay, for the lathe machine, I use the lathe machine for the 4 tires. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the side bumper. Okay, for the tires, I start with the big cylinder, solid cylinder. I make the diameter to 25mm, and the thickness is 9mm. After we finish the lathe, I use the knurling for the front and the back. Okay, this is the different types of knurling. See, for the front and the rear is different types of knurling. For the side bumper, I start with the long cylinder, solid cylinder, and I make the diameter to 5mm diameter and cut into half. Okay, and I put it here. For the welding process, I use rod welding. This part was a bit tricky because it has an angle First, I held the part by hand and made a tack weld at one spot. After it was secure, I welded the rest of the joint. For the wheel, after making 4 holes on the main body, I welded it from the inside. This was also a bit challenging. All of the welding processes were quite tricky because the material was not that thick, so I had to carefully control the ampere to avoid damaging the material. And for the remaining parts, I just used tack welding to hold them in position. After welding, we move to the finishing process. I use 2 types of grinder, such as a bench grinder and a hand grinder. After going through many processes, we can finally get the final product. Okay, that's all from me. See you in the next project.